to the Teaching Corner. Today I wanted to talk to you about core strengthening exercises. So a lot of times this would fall under OT or PT, but if you're a parent of a child who struggles with this, a lot of times in a classroom teacher might not be able to address it. So in order to help with their OT and PT, we may need to do some of these kinds of things at home. So I wanted to share a couple of exercises that help. And the reason this is really important is if you have a child who does a C shape when they're at school, or if you're tutoring somebody or trying to help somebody and they're constantly a puddle on their desk, they're always hunched over, what they're going to end up doing when they write is they're going to put a lot of pressure on their forearms, and this makes writing really difficult because their forearm isn't free to be able to move across the page. So it's really important to help kids. It's also going to help with their fatigue throughout the day. You may have some kids who are young right now who by the end of the day they literally just can't sit up anymore, so it's going to help them in so many different ways, in so many aspects throughout the day in school. So I wanted to share a couple of those exercises with you. So the first exercise that we're going to do is called Superman. What you're going to want to have the student do is to get down on their tummy, and they're going to put their arms and their legs straight out in front of them, and then when you tell them to, they're going to lift up, and they're going to lift up their hands, and they're going to lift up their feet. And what this does, and you can have them do like a repetition of 10, you're going to feel this in the lower back, and it's going to also strengthen those tummy muscles. So that's really helpful for some students. Another thing that's sort of similar to that is called a plank. You're going to have students tuck their toes underneath them. You're going to have them get on their forearms. They're going to try to make an L with their arms, and then they're going to push up. And you're really going to feel this in the core. Sometimes if students have a really weak core, they're actually going to shake. So that's a really good exercise for kids. Another one that you can do is you can have them get on their back. And this is called a bridge. So the students are going to lay on their back, and then they're going to lift their bottoms up into the air. So they're going to drive their heels down into the ground. And when they do, they want to keep their tummy tight and lift up and then come down. And you could have them do 10 or 20 depending on how strong they are. When they get to the top, you want them to squeeze their butt and then they lower. If you're a mom, you can practice your Kegels right here. But anyway, this is another exercise that's really good for helping to strengthen their core. Another thing that you can have students do is crunches. So they can put their hands behind their head, and then you just want them to lift their shoulder blades up off the floor, and they can do crunches, and then they can even do bicycle crunches if you want them to, where they just stay up in the air and they'll do opposite elbow to opposite knee. So that also helps the core. Two other things that you can do is you can also do a game called Knock Me Over, where you'll have students stand up and get really stiff bodied, and have somebody come and try to push them over. Of course, we don't want somebody shoving, so you might need to be the one who does the pushing over. And something else that's fun, but I can't demonstrate all by myself, is called the wheelbarrow walk, and that's where they will kick their legs up behind them, and you will grab their feet, and then they will walk on their hands forward, and then you can have them walk backwards. Some other suggestions is sports. Sports are a great way for students to help strengthen their core. Anything that requires running or jumping. Swimming is an excellent exercise for the core to help strengthen those muscles. So if there's anything like that your child is interested in, or if they're not old enough to do school sports and you can get them some swimming lessons or something like that, those are all excellent ways to help build the core while they're having fun and might not realize, oh, I'm actually having to strengthen something. But I hope that was helpful. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!